हमारे YouTube चैनल गॉडलीवुड स्टूडियो को सब्सक्राइब करें और साथ ही हर नए वीडियो के अपडेट के लिए बेल आइकन को क्लिक करें।
No matter what, I am feeling great.
Om Shanti and welcome to Light of Knowledge. Isn't it interesting that when we are gripped by fear, we tend to move from rationality to irrationality? Fear gets the better of us. Let's get into a conversation with Sister Shreya from the Brahma Kumaris to understand this better. Welcome to the show, Sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Sister, in today's day and age, there are so many superstitions that confront us. What is a superstition according to you, and why are we so scared of it?
A superstition is something, if you see around, it's more like an inherent belief. It's a belief that may come to you from your parents, or from the culture, or sometimes even from the religion. It's something you believe very, very strongly. And it's not that you're scared of superstition, but you're scared that if you don't follow it, something might go wrong.
Yeah, something bad might happen to you.
Something bad might happen to you. So it's that fear. So you kind of following something, it's a belief, and you follow something just because you fear that if you don't follow this, something bad will happen to you.
But isn't it true, Sister, because these are beliefs that have come down the ages and people have been following them and they advise you to follow them. So isn't there some element of truth in it?
Yeah, some of the superstitions that we follow have some logic to it and some don't have a logic to it. But when it's a belief, it's so deep that it's going to affect your thought process. Whatever is a belief, they then naturally that becomes a thought process. For example, one of the superstitions, a very common superstition that you see is if the black cat crosses the road, something wrong might happen. Or something like if you're leaving the house and if somebody sneezes, they tell you don't go out, because if you go out, then whatever you're going to go out for, it will not be productive or you'll not be able to finish it. So these are some of the superstitions that we see happening on a daily basis. Now what happens, maybe a simple superstition like if the black cat crosses the road, something wrong will happen. If this is your belief, and the moment the cat crosses the road, the first thought that comes to your mind is,
okay, now my day is going to go bad. Something bad is really going to happen to me.
But did you see how the belief created the thought? I am creating the thought, but when it's a belief, it's very natural. Then you don't have a choice to create. It becomes very natural, it's very automatic. So there's that belief and the thought. The first thought that comes is, okay, my day is going to go bad and something wrong is going to happen. And now if you create this thought that something bad is going to happen, something wrong is going to happen, you create a feeling. And that feeling is what you're talking about, fear.
You start worrying.
And then if you have a very deep faith and still if you do it, the cat crosses and you go, because you've created this negative thinking and you've created fear, the chances that something bad will happen.
And then you start believing in that even more because it happened. And then you start telling other people, okay, now if a black cat crosses the road,
they will argue it till you are convinced about it, and sometimes then the other person also starts fearing it. So it goes from one person to another person, from one generation to another generation. But if we just stop for a moment and look that if the power is in the black cat, because we say, oh, it's the cat that crossed the road and something bad happened. So the moment the cat crosses the road for anyone, and if the power is in that cat, then something wrong should happen with everyone.
Which doesn't happen.
Because some people who have no faith in this, have no belief in this, will not even realize when the cat crossed. So if they will not realize, they will not create that chatter, they will not create fear, because the moment you create fear, your efficiency kind of comes down. to such an extent that, have you ever washed dishes, glass dishes,
Yeah.
when you're in a state of fear?
Yeah, it's very fragile and you think you're going to
Yeah.
drop it any moment.
Because if somebody keeps telling you, be careful, and the moment they're saying this, in your mind, you're like, oh, I have to be careful, they're very expensive, expensive. And on most occasions, sometimes you end up breaking something.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that when you create fear, your efficiency reduces. When you create fear, that's why they sometimes say, fear paralyzes.
Yeah, it does. It does. So the same scenario, sister, you're saying it's about how I think. The cat crosses my path. It's a thought that I create in my mind that, oh, my day is going to go bad. And maybe eventually it may go bad. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
But can I do the reverse in the same situation? Can I say that, oh, it's a stroke of good luck? And can I use the same belief system to then change what's going to happen?
Yeah, you can try that. But then what happens is, if you use that, again, you're using something to create that thought. You're using a stimulus. You're waiting for the cat to cross the road and then say, okay, maybe it's good luck, maybe it's something, it's a blessing. But why not just say, oh, the day is blessed, I'm blessed, whatever I'm going to do is going to be good.
Irrespective.
See, it's you who have to do it. It's you who has to do whatever you're going for, whatever work it is. It is your state of mind. When we allow our state of mind to depend on these things, we're very vulnerable. Because if it goes our way, then good.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then we create fear.
Yeah. But this is like a simple scenario, sister. There could be something which is much bigger. Like, for example, you're inaugurating your shop or you're buying a new car.
Yeah.
And, you see in India at least, people put the lime and the chilies on every vehicle or, at the entrance of their shop, and they change that every day. And it's a very strong belief that it is warding off the evil or warding off the evil eye.
And you see it everywhere, and they kind of repeat it every day, The people who come and the first thing that they do is they put that in their auto, they put that in their car or outside their shop. Yeah, that's very common in India, but I think there's a logic to that. The logic is, it's sometimes all these things you start doing and you forget that there was a rationality behind them. And in this case, the rationality is that it's lemon.
Yeah.
And the thread that you normally take to pierce it is a cotton thread. It's a thread that can absorb the lemon juice. So you take that thread and you pass it through lemons and the chili, and then you hang it outside the shop or the vehicle. And when the breeze flows in, it creates that environment which has the fragrance of lemon and chili, and that helps you to be more immune towards the any disease, any viral, any germs. So it kind of helps you to be more strong physically. It was that's a physical thing. So normally these things started in the olden days when somebody would fall ill and they realized the place is not very hygienic or the place has some kind of bacteria or germs. So they would suggest that why don't you hang this? Even today the lemon has all these properties which are very good for health. So they say that you hang this lemon and chili and it will help you stay more healthy. Now you kind of relate to it that if I don't hang this chili and lemon, I'm going to fall ill.
Yeah, because it's such a strong belief. I know there was logic to it initially, but now it's you do it out of fear.
Now you do it out of fear.
If I don't do it, what will happen?
Yeah. See, but then you can again fall ill. And that is not because you did not hang lemon and chili, but a lot of negative thinking can make you fall ill. A lot of these diseases are psychosomatic. Now the research has proved and the medical science has proved there's so much that happens in your body is because of what you're thinking. So if you keep thinking, oh, I didn't do this, or something wrong can happen, and you can get ulcers, constipation, blood pressure going up, even to an extent when you have heart blocks, depression, all this is negative thinking. Major diseases today is negative thinking. To an extent, cancer. I don't know if you've come across this book, which is Dying to Be Me. And it's a very beautiful book where, that out-of-body experience, she went through the out-of-body experience and she realized that the cancer she got was because of the fear. It was a very big realization. And the fear was all about, not living up to people's expectation. It's very subtle fear, but it was the fear that I'm not living up to people's expectations, my family's expectations. So her whole life was dependent on trying to please other people. So that fear inside, that fear then sometimes can create anger. It's a cycle. Okay. If you're fearful that you are not able to live up to somebody's expectations, then you can feel sad.
Yeah.
And then you can feel sad, and then if you feel the pressure too much, then sometimes it can vent out as frustration or anger. So these are the emotions which can lead to diseases like cancer.
Yeah.
So you see from where to where.
Yeah. But it's amazing, sister, that, despite science today, despite the ability of people to be able to differentiate between right or wrong, there is some sort of blind faith towards these things. And I think that's primarily because people have experimented with it. They have found some amount of success with it, and they keep doing it again and again. Yeah. So it's very hard to shake that belief and tell them that there is, that you are responsible, for creating that, that your way of thinking is responsible for it.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is not that you stop doing this. For example, if you're hanging the lemon outside your shop, it's fine if you're doing it. But if the thought process is dependent on that, it's very risky. So the whole thing is not to not follow it. But if you follow it blindly, and sometimes you forget it. I remember one of the superstitions, we were sitting with one of the Indian cricket team, one of the player, and he said, always when he goes out to play, he ties his right shoelace first, and then the left one, and he has a very strong faith in that. And then he says, but then because I follow it so blindly, I don't know what's behind it. In case sometimes I forget and I go on the field and I just realize that sometimes he is unaware that whether he tied the right first or the left first, then it creates a lot of fear. He's not sure that whether I tied right first or left first, and that fear was affecting his performance quite a lot, because when you're in fear, your efficiency kind of comes down and you don't perform that well. So the other part is very, very dangerous. If you don't understand the rationality behind it, why it's important to understand the logic behind is that even if you haven't put it for one day, it's okay. Nothing wrong is going to happen. But if it affects your thought process, the day you don't hang it,
you start thinking that something bad is going to happen to you.
And sometimes something bad might just happen, which is just a coincidence, or something which is an outcome which you didn't expect. Then you relate to that.
So these are, simple irrationalities that happen in life, and that we start believing in. But there are certain things which have been accepted as science. For example, you have astrology, and every day in the newspaper, you have a little bit of the zodiac, a para that comes up about your star sign, telling you how your day is going to be. And, you start then getting gripped by fear. That, so recently I read something in the Zodiac which says chances of a job loss. And I was so worried because this job loss is happening everywhere in the industry. So that, sometimes when certain things are backed by a little bit of science, you tend to worry more about it.
See, astrology is a science, and the science has some, dependent on some factors and some parameters. But again, if you blindly follow it, so if you read a zodiac and it says very good things, now we are very weak. What is happening? One of the things what's happening with us is we're very, very weak. So when we read a piece of information, what sticks with us, that whole zodiac, it might have said some good things also, that kind of say everything is going to be fine, you're going to go for a vacation or this or that. But sometimes there is one statement which is negative. And because we're very weak, so that one line sticks. Is that one line that sticks? It's there. And a lot of people will say, I don't even believe in this so much. It's just like to read for fun. But the information that you're going to take in is going to impact your mind. See, what is mind? It is just creating thoughts. But the thoughts that the mind is going to create is going to be dependent on the information that you're going to take from outside.
So when I read over there, likelihood of job loss under my star sign, Are you saying that I'm going to take that information and start joining it in my mind?
See, that's the information that you take in. So 80% of the information that you take in is through your eyes and ears. So what you read, what you see, what you hear. And if you're not a very powerful soul, then it starts to influence you. Now, it can influence you in two ways. The first influence, it can happen if you're a weak soul, then the first influence that happens is, okay, this says that I'm going to lose a job, or I'm going to have a problem at my job, and you think about it all day, that one line replays so many times in your mind, and you create fear. What I'm trying to say is, it's not the zodiac that's creating fear. It's not the cat which is crossing the road which is creating fear. It is not the lemon which is creating the fear. It's your faith in those things creating fear. It's a dependency which is creating fear. So you start, fear is something that you are creating. Information is information. It's not bad, it's not good, it's not big, it's not small. It's just a piece of information. Now it depends on how powerful you are. So if you're weak, then you start thinking negatively, there are chances that it might manifest. Because in fear, then how will you perform? I need to realize that fear is something that I am creating. Now in the other case, if I am a powerful soul and I read something like a statement, because maybe the one who is predicted, it's a science, astrology is science, in case if that is the truth, there are very few people who can predict the truth, in case if that is the truth, as a powerful soul, I will be very careful.
So you take it like it's a warning.
You take it like it's a warning. Now you know, of course, the scenario is where there's a financial crisis, they're laying off. So you're very, very careful about all the things that can lead to that job loss. So you won't come late, or you won't make mistakes, you know, everything that may lead to a job loss, because if they're laying off people, there are chances that everybody is on that list. Now you're very, very careful, you do things properly, you're more disciplined, you're more accurate, you're not careless, and nothing will happen.
So you actually focus on yourself to ensure that you don't, blindly follow all of this, but, be conscious of your own behavior.
See, anyways, any prediction is dependent on some factors. Any prediction, even when a doctor makes a prediction, sometimes they predict, they can predict something like, you go to a psychiatrist and they look at your state of mind and they say, oh, it's very little, you're just sad, but if you don't come out of it, you can go into major depression.
Right.
So they say, oh, take them for a vacation. Like, for example, if somebody is passed in your family and you are feeling sad all the time, so they take you to a psychologist or psychiatrist and they say, oh, they've gone through something very big, very challenging. Now you take them for a vacation, you make sure they live happily, you try to make them happy. And then they kind of predict that if they don't come out of this, they can fall into major depression. So what they're predicting is the truth, that if you don't come out of this, you can get into depression. That's after 3 months or 6 months. But if you do everything right, you start taking care of yourself, you start staying more happy, you involve yourself in the activities that you like, you socialize with people, and you try to take care of yourself, won't that prediction change?
Yeah, it will, of course. Yeah.
Because you've changed the factors which was leading to that pain, that hollowness. Now when the factors change, when you work hard on yourself, the prediction will also change. So prediction can be the truth. Depends on how powerful you are and how well you lead to that prediction.
And you can actually create your own predictions by thinking the right way, like you said.
See, actually, we are creating our own destiny. Like we say, thought creates destiny. In fact, we don't need their help. Who knows more than us that what is our destiny? It's like if you are doing right today, tomorrow is going to be good. That's all we have to trust. If today is good, tomorrow definitely is good. But if today is in a state of fear,
it's going to creep into tomorrow and the day after. And the rest of your life.
Because you see, a lot of people are very fearful. They're very uncertain about their future. They're kind of fearing what's going to happen tomorrow. And it's not about fearing tomorrow. It's about playing your role well today. It's the energy that you send out today is the energy that's going to come back tomorrow. The whole thing about every action has equal and opposite reaction. So the reaction is something that's going to happen in the future. And you go to astrologer to ask what's going to happen in the future. So you have to trust that the action that I'm going to perform today will be the reaction tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. So, sister, I agree with that because it does make sense from a scientific point of view that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. But, sometimes, at least nowadays, we see that, there's a lot that's being circulated on WhatsApp, on social media that forward this to maybe 10 people and you will receive blessings. And then so you start forwarding it in the hope of getting a good reaction, getting blessings. And it's even prevalent in many other parts of the country where, you're expected to maybe take 100 printouts of a particular leaflet, which may have a particular mantra or something positive written on it, and, share it. And you have a lot of students taking those printouts and going and sharing it so that they don't fail in exams. So it's because they want something, a good reaction.
Yeah,
and so they're trying to do a good action according to them.
What you're saying, I'm just thinking that how people can exploit when you are in fear. When you say that they're taking out prints and they're going to so many people and distributing, so somebody is just using your fear to get their advertisement done.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
If you go and distribute that flyer to 100 people or 500 people, it's a free advertisement for those people. But you have to realize that you can be exploited when you are in fear.
Yeah, you are exploited actually in this scenario, right? Because that's what you're succumbing to them.
Yeah, and you're not getting anything in return. All you think is that it'll be a curse or it'll be a blessing. See, if you think of it, if somebody sends me a message, if you get a message, send it to 10 people, and I am one of them who you send a message, and if I don't have any faith, I'll just see and I'll keep my phone.
Yeah.
I don't think I will create any thought about it.
Right.
But what will happen after you've sent it to 10 people, you will create a thought, now I will be blessed.
Yeah.
That one thought when you say, now I will be blessed, is the blessing that you gave yourself.
Wow, okay.
Do you realize?
Yeah.
So you had to do something to bless yourself. That one statement, everything is going to go well, my exam is going to go well tomorrow because I circulated to 10 people.
Yeah.
I am blessing myself.
Yeah.
When I think right, I bless myself. And on the other hand, when I was not able to circulate or I was not able to distribute these flyers, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe the God is going to be angry with me. If you don't distribute pamphlets, you may just feel the world is going to go against me and I may not do well. Then what are you doing? You're
kind of cursing yourself.
Yeah. So it's not the other person who's blessing or cursing you in this case.
That's a very empowering statement that you said, sister, that you have the power to then either bless yourself or curse yourself. It doesn't really have to be from the outside, and it really starts with you taking onus for your own thoughts.
Because sister, fear is something which is a very dominant emotion and it will only bring down your capacity. It's never good to live in fear because people can really exploit you. I remember this one time in Mumbai, a very senior politician had passed away. And I was in a middle of a workshop. And we were in the middle of a workshop. It was another half an hour that we had to go through that workshop, and somebody came and whispered in my ear, and they whispered, oh, this politician has died and it's been declared that Mumbai is closed. And it was declared in the company, and you could just, like in a second, you saw the change in the vibration. It was very nice, peaceful, everybody was enjoying, and suddenly there was so much fear, and everybody rushed out because they thought that they will not get the trains, they will not get the bus. So they wanted to reach to their places safely. So there was fear in the environment. And then I saw, when I reached my place, all these people, the vegetable sellers, the people who sell milk, the moment they realized that people are in fear, and the moment it was declared that you don't know the Mumbai is going to be closed for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, so immediately the prices of the vegetables,
I'm sure they increased.
And the milk, 2-3 times. And everybody was in a fear, and they kept hoarding so much. There was no cooperation, there was no sharing, there was no compassion. In fact, in these moments, you can give them for free.
A lot of people got exploited in that.
A lot of people got exploited in this. A lot of people got exploited. And the whole hoarding thing, There was no cooperation, there was no feeling of brotherhood or family, and so many people were exploited. So there always a chance that if you are in a state of fear, somebody there who is more powerful, who understands all this, can exploit you.
Okay. In an age where there's science and people are educated, I think this is very enlightening, because a lot of educated people still hold very tightly to these belief systems, and I think we've been able to dispel a few of them with a lot of rationality. Thank you for the conversation, sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. I think the biggest takeaway from me in this conversation was that when you're gripped by fear, you are at your weakest. And when you are at your weakest, you are vulnerable and can be exploited and taken advantage of. Do stay safe by thinking with logic, with rationality, and applying your mind. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And if you had any questions, any comments, any clarifications, please feel free to write to us or call us. Thank you for watching.
हमारे YouTube चैनल गॉडलीवुड स्टूडियो को सब्सक्राइब करें और साथ ही हर नए वीडियो के अपडेट के लिए बेल आइकन को क्लिक करें।